try opening this box without a box cutter. Okay? Without a box cutter.
When I get my Amazon.
Use keys.
Don't give her the ideas. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time caught on camera, Katherine.
Where Darkness Blooms by Andrea Hanna. The town of Bishop is known for exactly two things: reoccurring windstorms and an endless field of sunflowers that stretches farther than the eye can see. And women missing women. So when 3 more women disappear one stormy night, no one in Bishop is surprised. The case is closed and their daughters are left in their dusty shared house with the shattered pieces of their lives. Until the wind kicks up the terrible secret at their mother's much-delayed memorial. With secrets come the lies each girl is forced to confront. After caring for the other girls, Delilah would like to move on with her boyfriend Bennett, but she can't bear his touch. Whitney has already lost both her mother and her girlfriend Eleanor, and now her only solace is an old weather van that seems to whisper to her. Jude, Whitney's twin sister, would rather ignore it all, but the wind kicks up her secret too. The summer fling she had with Delilah's boyfriend. Interesting. And more than anything, Bo wants answers and she wants them now. Something happened to their mothers and the townsfolk know what it was. She's sure of it. Bishop has always been a strange town, but what the girls don't know is that Bishop was founded on blood and now it craves theirs. That sounds really good.
Would you read it?
Yes. Also, I love how your earrings match your shirt. I just noticed that.
Thank you. So does my necklace. And my little honeycomb heart here. Be kind.
I was like gonna compliment it like ever since I saw it, but then I noticed the earrings and I was like, okay, now I have to say something.
I'm feeling very beautiful today. There we go. Feel happy now.
Ooh, the cover?
The cover, right? McMaster's Guide to Homicide. Murder your employer.
I think I might need to check that out.
Shut your mouth. Katherine, you wooed me. By Rupert Holmes. Prepare yourself for an education you'll never forget. A delightful mix of witty wordplay, breathtaking twists, and genuine intrigue, Murder Your Employer will gain you admission into a wholly original world, cocooned within the most entertaining book about well-intentioned would-be murderers you'll ever read. Who hasn't wondered what the world would be like if a person who is the object of your affliction ceased to exist? At the McMaster's Conservatory, future deletists, never murderers, learn... Future deletists, never murderers, learn the consummate execution of the homicidal arts. To this sumptuous campus come 3 memorable classmates, self-effacing Cliff Iverson, troubled Gemma Lindley, and Hollywood diva Doria May, all of whom have suffered menacing employers who richly deserve a deadly denouement. Under the tutelage of Dean Harbinger Harrow, his name is Harbinger, Harbinger of Death. Dean Harbinger Harrow and the fascinating faculty of McMaster's Halls of Poison Ivy. Halls of Poison Ivy, they hone their craft, each hoping to finesse a perfectly masterful murder. Called an American treasure, a true Renaissance man, and a genius, Rupert Holmes brings his wickedly clever storytelling talents to this outrageously and darkly comic mystery set in a secret, idyllic world where students of all ages learn how to do in others as you would have others do you in. I am greatly intrigued.
Me too.
Okay, so we would both read this?
Yeah.
As well as one other. Come on to you.
Lola at Last by J.C. Peterson. When you've burned every bridge, it's time to blaze a new trail. Lola Barnes Summer is not off to the best start. Fresh off a scandal that tanked her social status, Lola has somehow managed to also alienate her twin sister, lose a friend she thought she had, and put a fiery end to the first party of the summer. The boat was barely on fire, for the record, and all the partygoers were just fine. I really doubt that. Lola is given an ultimatum, jail time, or spending the summer with the non-profit Hike Like a Girl. Everyone expects Lola to fail, but even as Lola encounters bugs, blisters, and bears, she finds something greater than she's been missing all along. Unexpected friends, a sweet romance she didn't know she had, and herself, Lola at last.
Yes. This one came in late. This one was supposed to come in time for Mardi Gras.
See, I was interested in that one.
Full Exposure by Ten Kim Lam. I'm really not sure if I pronounced the first name correctly. Boudoir photographer Josie Parks never, ever takes vacation. But when a client cancels a New Orleans shoot at the last minute, she decides to fly out from her Washington, D.C. studio anyway. Maybe the trip will reawaken her recently stagnant muse. After all, it's Mardi Gras season. Spencer Pham has come home after 12 soul-sucking years in corporate hell to pursue his passion, making a docufilm on his family's history as the first Vietnamese Mardi Gras crew. The last thing he expects is to get whacked in the head by a beautiful woman trying to snag some parade beads.
Common Mardi Gras experience.
Oh, I've had some. Over some beignets and coffee, Spencer and Josie connect through their artistic pursuits. He offers to show her the real New Orleans, if she'll help him with the camera work for his film. Despite Josie's type A personality clashing with Spencer's laissez-faire attitude, they seem to make a great team, and soon the good times are rolling, both on and off camera. But Josie has a life in DC, and they both have big dreams they're chasing. When this big, easy fling starts feeling awfully serious, can they find a way to choose between personal and professional passion?
Oh, serious.
Yeah.
That just reminds me, like, when I was, like, 8, I remember I went to a parade and I got my lip busted by a bag of pretzel M&Ms. Microjoys. Finding Hope, Especially When Life Is Not Okay, by Sandy Spiegel?
Spiegel?
I think Spiegel. Microjoys are a practice of uncovering joy and finding hope at any moment. They're accessible to everyone, despite all else. When we hone the ability to look for them, they are always available. Microjoys are the hidden wisdom, long ago memories, subtle treasures, and ordinary delights that surround us. A polka dot glass on a thrift store shelf, a dear friend's kindness at just the right time, the neighborhood spice shop, a beloved family tradition, the simple quietude of being in love, a cherished child recipe. Cindy Spiegel first began taking note of microjoys during the most difficult year of her life, when she experienced back-to-back unprecedented and devastating losses, and she found that these fleeting moments of hope helped her move through each day with a semblance of comfort and a lot more joy. Through beautifully written narratives and prompts, Cindy shares the microjoys that have kept her going through tough times and shows us how we can learn to see the microjoys in our own lives. Microjoys don't change the truth of loss or make grief any more convenient, but they allow us to temporarily touch joy, keeping us buoyed and moving forward, one moment at a time.
Now I have been waiting for this one. The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. Shy, bookish, and admittedly awkward, Lily Green has always felt inadequate compared to the rest of her accomplished family, who strive for black excellence. She dreams of becoming a children's book editor, but she's been frustratingly stuck in the nonfiction division for years without a promotion in sight. Lily finds escapism in her correspondence with her favorite fantasy author, and what begins as two lonely people connecting over email turns into a tentative friendship and possibly something else Lily won't let herself entertain. Until it goes there without a word. Months later, Lily is still crushed, but she's determined to get a hold of her life, starting with finding a date to her sister's wedding. And the perfect person to help her is Nick Brown, her charming, attractive new neighbor, who she feels drawn to for reasons she can't explain. But little does she know, Nick is an author. Her favorite fantasy author.
I kind of saw that coming.
Nick, who has his reasons for using a pen name and pushing people away, soon realizes that the beautiful, quiet girl from down the hall is the same Lily he fell in love with over email 2 months ago. Unwilling to complicate things even more between them, he agrees to set her up with someone else, though this simple favor between two neighbors is anything but, not when he can't get her off his mind.
Goddess Girls, Artemis the Brave. Artemis is known for being the most courageous girl at Mount Olympus Academy. Little do her friends and classmates know that even though she's fearlessly awesome at archery, the creatures they learn about in bestiology class, such as the ring-nosed minotaurs and scorpions, scare her as much as they frighten everyone else. But what is scaring her even more are her growing feelings for a fellow classmate, Orion. She's never had a crush before. Will she find the courage to talk to Orion and ace her bestiology class?
And when you know Greek mythology, you know that's not going to go well. It's going to go terribly. The Davenports by Crystal Marquis. In 1910, the Davenports are one of the few black families of immense wealth and status in a changing United States. Their fortune made through the entrepreneurship of William Davenport, a formerly enslaved man who founded the Davenport Carriage Company years ago. Now the Davenports live surrounded by servants, crystal chandeliers, and endless parties, finding their way and finding love, even when they're not supposed to. There is Olivia, the beautiful elder Davenport daughter, ready to do her duty by getting married, until she meets the charismatic civil rights leader, Washington DeWitt, in Sparks Fly. Might be Dwight. I think it's Dwight. The younger daughter, Helen, is more interested in fixing cars than falling in love, unless it's with her sister's suitor.
Oh.
Amy Rose, the childhood friend turned maid to the... Yeah. Amy Rose, the childhood friend turned maid to the Davenport sisters, dreams of opening her own business and marrying the one man she could never be with, Olivia and Helen's brother, John. But Olivia's best friend, Ruby, also has her sights set on John Davenport, though she can't seem to keep his interest, until family pressure has her scheming to win his heart, just as someone else wins hers. The first book in a breathless new series, The Davenports offers a glimpse into a period of African-American history often overlooked, while delivering a totally escapist, swoon-worthy read. Inspired by the real-life story of C.R. Patterson and his family, it's the tale of four determined and passionate young black women discovering the courage to steer their own path in life and love. I'm still stuck on the childhood friend turned maid.
Like, they just walked right by that. Like, insane. But this sounds good.
Yeah?
Delicious Monsters by Lizelle Sambury. Daisy sees dead people, something impossible to forget in bustling, ghost-packed Toronto. She usually manages to deal with her unwanted ability, but she's completely unprepared to be dumped by her boyfriend. So when her mother inherits a secluded mansion in northern Ontario, where she spends her childhood summers, Daisy jumps at the chance to escape. But the house is nothing like Daisy expects, and she begins to realize that her experience with the supernatural might be no match for her mother's secret, nor what lurks within these walls. A decade later, Brittany is desperate to get out from under the thumb of her abusive mother, a best-selling author who claims her stay at Miracle Mansion allowed to see the error of her ways. But Brittany knows that's nothing but a sham. She decides the new season of her popular haunted web series will uncover what happens to a young black girl in the mansion 10 years prior and finally expose her mother's lies. But as she gets more wrapped up in the investigation, she'll have to decide. If she can only bring one story to light, which one matters most, Daisy's or her own? As Brittany investigates the mansion in the present, Daisy's story runs parallel in the past, both timelines propelling the girls to face the most dangerous monsters of all, those that hide in plain sight.
1794, The City Between the Bridges, by Nicholas Notch-Och-Dog. By Nicholas Notch-Och-Dog. Dag? Stop giggling. Stockholm, 1794. A young nobleman, Eric Three Roses.
That's an interesting last name.
It's Eric Three Roses.
So his name is Free.
Okay, I'm gonna sound horrible, but does he have any siblings? And are their middle names one And 2.
I feel like that's really likely.
A young nobleman, Eric Three Roses, languishes in a hospital as the rest of the city claims he belongs in a madhouse. Riddled with guilt, he writes down the memories of his lost love, his beautiful wife who died on their wedding night. Well, that sucks. The young woman's mother also mourns her death, and desperate for justice, begs for help from the only person who will listen to her. Jean Michael Cardell, the one-armed watchman. But she isn't the only person seeking him out. Emile, younger brother to the brilliant lawyer and detective Cecil Wing, finds the watchman to demand his late brother's pocket watch back. Instead, Cardell enlists Emile's help to discover what really happened at the Three Roses estate that dreadful wedding night. Okay, so maybe it's not his middle name. I guess that's just their last name. The City Between the Bridges, 1794, is a startling recreation of a past era and a suspenseful journey into murder and madness brought to life by a virtuistic storyteller. You're good?
Remind Me to Hate You Later by
Okay.
Lizzie Mason. Oh. That was so quick. Jules grew up in the spotlight. Her mom, Britt, shares details of Jules' life on social media. Pictures, intimate stories, insecurities, all. To a point that has become unbearable. And then suddenly, Jules is gone. Natalie has only barely begun to grieve her best friend when Britt announces a memoir that will dissect Jules' life and death. But Nat knows the truth behind Britt's perfect online persona. How Jules hated the pressure, the inauthenticity. There's so much more to Jules than Britt and her followers could ever know. As Nat connects with Jules' boyfriend, Carter, and their shared grief bonds them, they need something real to hold on to. Nat is determined to understand what really happened, to expose Britt, to place the blame. Because if it was someone else's fault, maybe it wasn't hers. In our world that often feels distorted by social media and public opinion, Lizzie Mason's tender and touching novel offers a raw, moving account of grief, depression, love, and the search for truth.
Marvelous by Molly Greeley. I forgot.
Oh, Lord. I already see Beauty and the Beast.
1547, Pedro Gonzalez, a young boy living on the island of Tenerife, understands that he is different from the other children in his village. He is mercilessly ridiculed for the hair covering his body from head to toe. When he is kidnapped off the beach near his home, he finds himself delivered by a slave broker into the dangerous and glamorous world of France's royal court. There, Monsieur Savage, as Pedro is known, learns French, literature, and sword fighting, becoming an attendant to the French King Henry II and a particular favorite of his queen, the formidable Catherine de Medici. The queen considers herself a collector of unusual people and is fascinated by Pedro, and determined to find him a bride. Catherine Raffelin is a beautiful 17-year-old girl whose merchant father has fallen on hard times and offers up his daughter to Queen Catherine. The queen will pay his debts, and his daughter will marry Monsieur Savage. Catherine meets Pedro for the first time on their wedding day. Barely recovered from the shock of her father's betrayal, she soon finds herself christened Madame Savage by the royal courtiers and must learn to navigate this strange new world and the unusual man who is now her husband. Believe it or not, this is actually historic. This is actually what Beauty and the Beast was based off of.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There actually was a man named Pedro Gonzalez who was covered in hair, and Catherine really was just given to him as his bride as a science experiment to see if they would have little beast children. Wow. I know my Beauty and the Beast. I've done the research. I know this.
So it is fiction, right?
It's historical fiction. They don't actually know what Catherine's last name was they really don't know anything about her except that her name is Catherine and what happened to her after she married the Beast, as they called it. But the thing is, they did end up having children with his condition, and those children were sold off.
Oh.
Nobody knows what happened to the kids. But they did love each other. It's very evident in the pictures that were, portraits that were done and everything. There's certain body language that symbolize certain things, like a hand on the shoulder meant love and affection, and almost every single picture, her hand is on his shoulder.
I would like to read this. The Island by Natasha Preston. Jagged Island, a private amusement park for the very rich or the very influential. Liam, James, Will, Ava, Harper, and Paisley, social media influencers with millions of followers, have been invited for an exclusive weekend before the park opens. They'll create posts and videos for their channels and report every second of their VIP treatment. When the teens arrive, they're stunned. The resort is even better than they imagined. Their hotel rooms are unreal. The park's themed rides are incredible, and the island is hauntingly beautiful. Their jam-packed schedule seems to cover every moment of their visit, but soon they realize that something's missing, getting off the island alive.
Best Served Hot by Amanda Elliott. By day, Julie Zimmerman works as an assistant. After hours, she's Julie Z Eats NYC, an online restaurant reviewer with more than 50,000 followers. As much as she loves her self-employed side gig, what Julie really wants is to be a critic at the New York Scroll. The only thing worse than the Scroll's rejection of her application is the fact that smarmy, social media-averse society boy Bennett Richard McMaster Wright.
I love using that word smarmy. Like, I see it so much.
Snagged her dream job. But this dude must be so high in society. This dude's got not three names, not a middle, not a beginning, a middle, and a last name. No. He's got 4. While at a food festival, Julie confronts the annoyingly handsome Bennett about his outdated opinions on social media, and she posts the resulting video footage. Julie's follower count soars, and so does the Scrolls. Julie and Bennett grudgingly agree to partner up for a few reviews to further their buzz. Online buzz, obviously. Over tapas, burgers, and more, Julie and Bennett connect through their shared love of food, but when the competitive fire between them turns extra spicy, they'll have to decide how much heat their relationship can take.
I love, food-related everything. Device-Free Weekend by Sean Doolittle. Ryan Cloverhill, founder and CEO of the world's most popular social media platform, invites his 6 best friends from college to his home on his private island near
Puget? I'll just put the word up on the screen and they can. We don't know. We've never heard of this before. There is no how to pronounce guide here, so don't make fun of us.
For Steven, Emma, Perry, Will, Bo, and Lainey, day 1 is just what the doctor ordered. Amazing food, drinks, laughter, and a sunset cruise around the island aboard their host's custom Van Dutch 55. Day 2, however, takes a bewildering turn when the 6 hungover guests wake up to find that their host has disappeared, along with all connection to the mainland. A touchscreen tablet awaits them, blatantly defying the rules of the weekend with this challenge: unlock me. The passcode to the tablet is hidden somewhere in the group's shared history, but what seems at first like just another silly game turns deadly serious when the group discovers what unlocking the tablet might mean. Is it the key to their futures or a Pandora's box? Only one thing is clear: their old friend Ryan has something unthinkable planned. Now it's up to the 6 of them to stop him, and when this weekend is over, the world will never be the same.
I'd read it.
That book got put down twice.
I'm sorry. I'll read you next if she doesn't pick you. The Headmaster's List. One of them was driving. One of them was high. One of them screamed. One of them died. When high school sophomore Chris Moore is tragically killed in a car crash, Armstrong Prep is full of questions. Who was at the wheel? And more important, who was at fault? 18-year-old Spencer Sandoval wishes she knew. As rumors swirl that her ex, Ethan, was the reckless driver, she can't bring herself to defend him. And their messy breakup has nothing to do with it. She can't remember anything from that night. Not even what put her in that car with Ethan, Chris, and Tabby Hill, the new loner in school. The hunt for answers intensifies when a student's true crime podcast takes an interest in the case, pushing Spencer further into the depths of this sinister mystery. Was it all just a night out that went very wrong? And is it a coincidence that everyone but Chris was at Armstrong's esteemed honor roll, the Headmaster's list? In a place ruled by pedigree and privilege, the truth can only come at a deadly price.
I'll read it. I'm sorry.
Aww.
Finally Seen by Kelly Yang. When 10-year-old Lena Gao steps off the plane in Los Angeles, it's her first time in America and her first time seeing her parents and her little sister in 5 years. She's been waiting for this moment every day while she lived with her grandmother in Beijing, getting teased by kids at school who called her left behind girl. Why?
Kids are cruel.
Finally, her parents are ready for her to join their fabulous life in America, except it's not exactly like in the postcards. School's a lot harder than she thought. When she mispronounces some words in English on the first day, she decides she simply won't talk ever again. Her chatty little sister has no problem with English and seems to do everything better than Lena, including knowing exactly the way to her parents' hearts. They live in an apartment, not a house like in Mom's letters, and they owe a lot of back rent from the pandemic. And Mom's plan to pay it back sounds a little frothy. As she reckons with her hurt, Lena tries to keep a lid on her feelings both at home and at school. When her teacher starts facing challenges for her latest book selection, it will take all of Lena's courage and resilience to get over her fear in order to choose a future where she's finally seen.
A Match in the Making by Jen Turano. Miss Gwendolyn Brindley. I love that name. Gwendolyn. It's very pretty. Miss Gwendolyn Brindley accepted a temporary paid companion position for the Newport summer season, believing it would be a lark to spend the summer in America's most exclusive town. She suddenly finds her summer turning anything but amusing when her employer expects her to take over responsibilities as an assistant matchmaker. Tasked with the daunting prospect of attaining advantageous matches for her clients, Gwendolyn soon finds herself in the employ of Mr. Walter Townsend, the catch of the season, but a gentleman Gwendolyn finds beyond irritating. Walter Townsend is reluctantly in search of a wife. Gesundheit. Walter Townsend is reluctantly in search of a wife for the sake of his unruly motherless children who cannot keep a governess for long. What he wasn't expecting was Miss Brindley, an amateur matchmaker who turns his quest for a new wife into a complete and utter debacle. Oh no. Constantly besieged by society ladies on a mission to win his affection, Walter must find a way to overcome their inundating attention and his unexpected attraction toward Gwendolyn. The more time they spend together throughout the Newport season, the harder it is for Gwendolyn to find Walter a wife when she realizes this perfect match might be her. I think it might actually be quite funny.
Stormwatch by C.J. Box. While tracking a wounded elk in the midst of an epic Rocky Mountain spring snowstorm, Joe Pickett makes a startling and gruesome discovery. The frozen and mutilated body of a man who has obviously trespassed on a private ranch and was killed near the location of a mysterious high-tech structure. Joe also finds the man's vehicle on an isolated mountainside. The victim's ID indicates that he is a prominent University of Wyoming professor. When Joe attempts to learn more, his investigation is obstructed by federal agents, extremists, and Governor Coulter Allen. Nate Romanowski is rebuilding his Falcon Cry company and financing this through crypto mining with the assistance of Geronimo Jones. Nate is then approached by a shadowy group of local militant activists that is gaining in power and influence. and demanding that Wyoming join other western states and secede from the Union, by force if necessary. They ask Nate to throw in with them, but he's wary. Should he trust them, or is he being set up? As the storm of peril gathers around them, Joe and Nate confronted in different ways, and maybe for the first time on opposite sides.
Okay. 3.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a winner of our conjoined reading taste. That is it for this video. You can find these books here at our library. So come on by, stop, visit, check out a few books. Until next time. I might have to hide this book from a certain employee.